So we're at the point of the off season in which a lot of the stuff that comes out is pure speculation, especially when it comes to this team is interested in this player or this player wants to play for this team. That's why at this point in time of the off season, it's very important to pay attention to your local reporters. John Keim, JP Finley, Ben Stand, these guys that have direct contact and inside sources with the Washington Commanders, those are the best people to pay attention to because they know stuff that we don't. I say that to say there's news going around that behind closed doors and behind the scenes, Kliff Kingsbury is banging the table to reunite with one of his former wide receivers. Let's talk about it.
The way that we live is not for everybody. We're going to run and put our bodies on people in a violent manner.
I love the way she move it, shake it on me. When she cry for him, the shawty is the winner. You can tell that shawty's on.
You know what time it is. It's time to come out.
I love the way she move it, shake it on me.
YouTube, what's going on? It's Juan Gotti here. We have the Washington Commanders video, and in today's video, I'm coming on here with the video where we're going to be talking about Coach Kliff Kingsbury banging the table secretly behind the doors for an old friend. Without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. Before we do, make sure you guys go down below, leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, turn on post notifications so you get notified when I upload new videos like this to the channel. We want to 9,000 subscribers, so that we greatly appreciate if you can reach that goal as soon as possible. Don't forget to check out my fitness channel, as that link is down below in the description. I'm documenting my journey from fat to fit. Thank you so much. Let's get straight to it. So, as I mentioned earlier, just a few seconds ago, around this time of the season, you need to pay attention to a lot of the insiders for your favorite team. And specifically, our favorite team is the Washington Commanders. So, as I mentioned, Nikki Giavala, JP Finley, Ben Standen, whoever your go-to guy is, John Keim, pay attention to them because they know a lot that we as fans and content creators don't really know. We can have a sense and idea of it right now, but those guys are the guys that got it. And it got me excited because we're in the market for a wide receiver, probably even multiple. And it came out again that Kliff Kingsbury could be behind the scenes banging the table for his old friend and Christian Kirk, Jaguars wide receiver. So it says former Arizona coach Kliff Kingsbury, now the offensive coordinator in Washington, raved about Christian Kirk. He quoted this as one of his favorite players he's ever been around. And the Commanders need to add help at wide receiver beyond Terry McLaurin. It wouldn't be shocking if Christian Kirk reunited with his old coach to play in the slot for Jaden Daniels. So that is very interesting because Christian Kirk has never crossed my mind. I'm going to be completely honest with you. He has not crossed my mind as a possibility solely because, one, he's not a free agent, and two, he's not a guy that I think of as a potential person that can come here and help benefit and make this team better. That's just pure honesty. Christian Kirk was really good at Arizona, though. Y'all remember he was a nice receiver there in Arizona, and they didn't pay him, and he ended up going to Jacksonville and cashing in to be their wide receiver one. And it, not gonna say that it hasn't panned out for them in Jacksonville, but it hasn't lived up to what they've truly expected. I'm sure if you ask any Jacksonville Jaguars fans, they would tell you that because he's been on and off the field, inconsistency and stuff like that. But one thing that I do know about sports and life is when you're around somebody that you're comfortable with and somebody that knows you like the back of your hand and you know them, vice versa, you tend to play better, be comfortable, and they know how to get the best out of you. In the sense of Kliff Kingsbury and Christian Kirk, that could be the case in which reuniting with Christian Kirk may not be a bad idea because the last time those guys, were on the same team, and Christian Kirk was, I believe, 1,000-yard receiver back in Arizona, and he was looking like a true star receiver. And again, he's not a guy that I thought about trading for, because you have to trade for him because he isn't a free agent until next season. So you would have to trade for him. But I'm getting this sense, and I've been hearing through the grapevine, that Jacksonville does not plan on extending him. And in fact, they would rather move him at trade him, or they would rather just cut him. If they make a move before June 1st, they could save about $10 million. And given the fact that they have a new regime in Liam Cohen, and they have Brian Thomas, who is outstanding rookie and clearly the number wide receiver one on that team, maybe they do want to part ways with Christian Kirk. And just maybe Washington is a team that could be interested. And again, I want you guys to be open-minded about this. I know immediately, because that's how I was. Immediately, it's like Christian Kirk doesn't even cross my mind, but think about it. We're not going to be able to just put all our chips on big name players at every single position. Sure, we want the biggest name players at the wide receiver position and at the edge rusher position, but we have to be realistic. We're not the only team that are interested in these guys. So I say that to say, don't just turn your nose up at Christian Kirk. Is he the end all be all? Hell no. If you get Christian Kirk, you for sure want to add more to him as well, or more to that as well. But you don't want to just completely disregard Christian Kirk, because there have been times in which players have went back to an old coach or went back to a team that they were comfortable in and played their best. So just maybe Christian Kirk can come in and be the slot receiver that we need. And that's in which I felt like Washington could trade for Deebo Samuel, because my whole thing is I want Washington to sign Chris Godwin in free agency and trade for Deebo Samuel to be the slot/running back, H-back, Swiss Army knife kind of guy. That's what I want, and I think that is a realistic option. But if Deebo is too costly, or you're not comfortable with Deebo's, ability to stay healthy and stay, in football shape, and if he's not going to truly buy in, or if you feel like he has character issues, nobody knows Deebo Samuel better than Adam Peters. So I'm sure if they're not interested, they won't make the move. But I say that to say again, Christian Kirk could be another option. It could be a cheaper option. Again, you would have to still trade for him, but he won't command nearly as much as a Deebo Samuel would. He's 29 as well, and he's a really good deep threat. He's a really good route runner underneath and has good hands as well. In fact, let's actually take a look at Christian Kirk's stats. Back in 2021 with Arizona, he had 982 yards. So his best year with AZ, and closely to a 1,000-yard receiver. Then he got paid in Jacksonville. The Arizona Cardinals didn't want to pay him. He went to Jacksonville. In his first year in Jacksonville, he put up 1,108 receiving yards and 8 touchdowns. So he immediately came to Jacksonville and made an impact. And I remember that 2022 Jacksonville Jaguars team, man. That was a fun team to watch. That playoff team, they were really, really, really good that year. And then after that, though, he had 2023 season. He only had 787 yards. So not too bad, but definitely a big drop off and 3 touchdowns. And then this past year, he only had 379 receiving yards. So, he's definitely trending downward. And it may not just be because he's trash. It may just be simply because injuries and a new change of scenery could do him wonders. Because let's see the games he played. So in this past season, he only played in 8 games. So that's definitely a scary sight to see, because you don't necessarily want to trade for a guy that has a history of being hurt. And he played in 8 games this past year. And then he played in 12 in 2023. Before that, he played in 17, 14, 13, and 12. So he relatively has been healthy, stands for the last 2 seasons. So it seems as if when he's healthy, he's still producing. As in the game, and then one season he had 17. He played in 17 games. He had 1,100. The next season he played in 17 games. He had around 700 to 800. So it doesn't necessarily look like he's not a production guy. He is. It's just about, can he stay healthy? And again, at the end of the day, it's football. Injuries are going to happen. And of course, you don't want to pay a guy money or trade for a guy that has a history of being injured. But it's football. What can you do? Injuries happen. So I say that to say, just think about Christian Kirk. I'm interested to see your comments down below. If Kliff Kingsbury like him, and I think Kliff Kingsbury is going to have a true say in obviously who we draft and who we sign a free agency for the offensive side of the ball, and who we trade for. I genuinely think he could be a legit option if Kliff is banging the table for him behind doors, how I think he is, and how the insiders have put out on Twitter that he's very interested in him as well. So I could see an offense with Terry, Christian Kirk, and maybe you get Chris Godwin, or maybe you draft somebody. Again, I just want to prepare you guys to see an upgrade at offense and at certain positions, but just don't expect every position to be Myles Garrett, T. Higgins, and the biggest name, because it can truly be a possibility in which we have a guy that we may question, like a Christian Kirk originally, but then you look up and fast forward 6 months later and he's a 1,000-yard receiver. But you wouldn't have never imagined that 6 months prior, because you're like, hey man, Christian Kirk, what the heck? We could have did so much better than Christian Kirk. So I just say, try it out, see how it is. What's your thoughts down below in the comment section? I'm all for it if Kliff Kingsbury's for it. Again, this regime hasn't done nothing wrong up until this point. So if they believe this is the best fit for us, why not? Again, this isn't the end-all be-all. And if they made this move and only this move, then I would have some concerns and questions. But if they make this move on top of other wide receivers bringing in as well, whether it's draft, free agency, or trade, then I don't see no big deal about it. Again, they said slot receiver, so he can come in and be the perfect slot receiver. And again, that doesn't necessarily mean that De'Ami Brown has to take a back seat, or that doesn't necessarily mean that we can't address another wide receiver too in Chris Godwin, because again, he's a slot guy mainly. So let me know what you guys think about this video in the comment section down below. As always, it's me, your boy Juan Gotti. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 9,000 subscribers, so it'll greatly appreciate it if you haven't reached that goal as soon as possible. Thank you so much. You have a blessed one. Stay safe. Be easy out there. Brr.